Good morning, everybody. I am Fire Lotus. This is the weekly live morning witches chat that I hold, or that I do weekly, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Starting at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday through Friday. So, I do have some stuff to go over. I do have a slight announcement about the one of the apps that I talk about when it comes to astrology. But today's episode, besides the general message that I wind up, or the general lessons, messages, advice, I don't know what it's called, that I wind up giving out, we will also be going over the Oracle card. For anyone who doesn't know, I've been breaking down the Halloween Oracle deck. I said that right. Halloween Oracle deck. I've been, since I started these lives in October, I've been breaking them down alphabetically, and I go over them using an app. So anybody who does have the Halloween Oracle deck, if you lost the book, there is an app in the App Store. I also started, because I'd been forgetting to also state that, check out the person in the App Store, the company who makes this particular app that I'm talking about, because they also have other apps for other Oracle cards out there and Oracle decks, to where if you've lost the book and you just want to have it just to have it, you can download it. They're not free. Some of them are, but others, they're normally about $2. So, and I do have apps over here, wow. I have notes over here, some notes of things that I do want to go over on this video, because we will actually be breaking down some from Candle Magic Tips, and we're going to be talking that update, and then, oh yeah, a couple other things about spirits. By the way, if y'all do, because I don't know how she's going to act, Magic, my black and white kitty, who is normally an outside cat, decided that she wanted to come in yet last night. And yeah, for some reason I let her in, so she camped out in my magic room last night. And for everybody else who's ever worried, all the cats that I do have outside, they have nice homes and beds that they sleep in to keep them warm during the really, really cold nights. And for the nights where it just drops a little bit too cold, we bring them inside. We have little cages or kennels that will keep them inside long enough until, the cold's gone, and once it heats up the following day, then we release them. So yeah, there's that. But just wanted to say she is in here, and she is very needy. Example A. She literally will bite me if I stop petting her at certain points. Come on, lay down. There you go. Okay, so without further ado, gotta do my... For anyone who doesn't know, I do this in I try to do this in all my live videos. This is Sage Vibrational Charged by the Full Moon Sage Spray. That is made by a good friend of mine. She runs 3 Sleepy Eyes Apothecary. She has a Facebook, she has a Instagram, and she also has a Etsy store. So you should totally check her out. But I use these during all of these lives, before and after, and throughout the day. It's amazing, and it honestly smells like you walked into a fairy forest or garden. It smells amazing. Totally check her out. She has a load of other stuff. She has stuff for beards. She has homemade soaps, homemade shampoos for dreads, bunch of other stuff, loads of other stuff. Totally go check her out. So, okay, the update that I did want to say with the Astro Matrix app that I always talk about. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, it is free. It's in the App Store. They do have a subscription plan that you could do, but all the information that you get that is free, it's amazing. If for anyone who's ever wanted like a personal style, day by day personal horoscope, then you should totally go to the App Store and download it. All you need is, basically, it uses your birth chart. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, the most basic example would be, it's a screenshot of the exact moment you were born. And what that does is it breaks down the planets, and it can basically, through that, without getting into too much detail, you get daily updates and hourly updates on what planets move where. It gives great advice, things to look out for when planets go retrograde. It has a retrograde calendar, so much other stuff. It's a lifesaver. I use it every day. But if you do download it and actually create an account, go to your settings and turn on your GPS. The only reason I'm stating this is because I learned yesterday, again, I've been talking to the creator of it, and she noticed in one of my posts that the timing in the moon was off with the direction that it actually stated, and that was because I did not know that you can actually get it to where it hones in exactly to where you are. That way it's a lot more accurate. Right now, today's current moon phase is actually in Aries, and as an Aries, I am totally feeling it. I'm really pumped. I also have had a cup of coffee, and I'm currently working on an energy drink. I nurse this energy drink, though. It gets me through, like, the entire day. So, with that being stated, do that, and it will help hone that in a lot better. That's not even English, what I just stated, but you understand what I mean. But it is a lifesaver. It gives you, with that, you get, for one, you have access to your birth chart, the entire aspects, everything. They also have a YouTube video to actually break the app itself down to where you can fully understand it more. But daily, you get where the moon's at. Good morning. You get where the moon's at. You get a quote of the day. You get a number of the day. You get some other type of, like, lesson thing of the day. You get a tarot card of the day. You can do tarot readings on there. There's so much other stuff you can do on there, and it's free, which was a mind blower, because for anyone who's ever wanted to learn about astrology and never knew how, or was like me and was extremely magic, please stop. Baby girl, I'm petting you. Calm down. But to anyone who has been extremely intimidated by it, because it is extremely intimidating and extremely complicated, it breaks it down, and it's helped me learn a lot more than I've ever learned before, and I've been using it for about a year and a half now. So, but yes, to get onwards with what I was mainly going to talk about, I think I updated that. Okay, so I talked about candle magic on here before. Candle magic, for anyone who either just hasn't made that step out of their comfort zone yet and, like, tried to do it, or has just never thought about it, it's one of the most simplest and easiest, and in some ways most powerful type of magic that you can do. To most people, it would think it's very simple, just, burning a candle, anointing it, dressing it with herbs. And what anointing and dressing is, if you have any types of oils, or if you're working with ancestors, you can use colognes or perfumes, and you basically just dab the candle. You can also help set intention that way. Like, if you have a type of money oil or prosperity oil, you can anoint the candle, and by using the oil to anoint the candle, you are also basically dressing the candle with your intention as to bring in money. But it's not just for money spells. You can literally do a candle spell for almost anything. You can do it as a candle. You can do a candle spell as a curse. Baby girl, please stop. Thank you. You could do it as a curse. You could heal somebody. You could do wish spells. They're like those kind of fast. I don't want to say fast as in like the easy way, but it's one of those. It's quick. It's very simple to do, and you don't need much. Like, literally, if you only had birthday candles, the tiny ones, those would actually be perfect for it. But with that, I wanted to go over the correspondences, and first, before that, I kind of wanted to break down, if magic would let me use my hands, I wanted to kind of break down just the steps of that, and basically what the steps would be, and you don't have to, it just depends on the person. If you have a majority of colors in the candles, then you would try to match what you're trying to get for that, or what the intention would be. Basically, what I mean by that is match the color with, say it's a wish spell, or say it's a job spell. Job, money, green, it could be gold, it could be yellow, whatever you... Honestly, the magic that I teach, it's whatever color comes to you, or whatever color you associate with a job, like whether that be you could if you had the perfect job in mind and say they had uniforms. If you knew the uniform color, you could use that or use multiple candles to represent the uniform that you would wear or the colors of that company. But with that, you could do their timing, which I've talked about this multiple times before. I don't actually like worry about the timing. I just do magic when I need to. But for the people that are curious about it, each day of the week has a different, basically, correspondent. Monday is the day of the moon for fertility and healing, and this is just from this. So, like, I'm telling you now, if you actually start researching this, you will see so many other things. So, like, it's kind of, when it comes to magical knowledge, it's kind of all in the beholder, whoever wrote it. Now, of course, a lot of the stuff, there are similarities and stuff like that, but at the same time, you could pick up 3 books from different paths and look at the correspondences, and they all have the exact same list, aka the same colors, but their listing of individual words that describe what those colors are used for would be completely different. So yeah, Monday is the day of the moon for fertility and healing, so Monday would be a great day for fertility spell, pregnancy, healing, blessings for those. Tuesday is the day of Mars for strength and courage, so that'd be a great day for a job, or for testing, like if you wanted to make an amulet or charm something, key. You can wear any type of key around your neck. It does not have to be like a skeleton key or antique key. It can be your house key, but you can enchant that to unlock knowledge that you already have. And it works. I have multiple keys that I wear around me. Actually, I have a keychain full of keys. I like keys. But anyways, back to this. Wednesday is the day of Mercury for communication, study, and travel. Oh, there you go. Wednesday would be the perfect day for studying. Thursday is the day of Jupiter for luck and fortune. And now, with that, and if you do want to go down this route, if you can find a month of the year to where you can find a Thursday that falls on the 7th for luck and money, that is a really, really, really good day. Like, if you could plan that to fall on the 7th day, or, it wouldn't be the 7th day, but on a Thursday, on the 7th of the month, at, like, say, 7 a.m. or 7 p.m., that would, like, majorly. But, again, it's really all about intention, it's about manifestation, and honestly, I'm starting to realize it all depends on the person. Depending on the person, you, like, 2 people can do the exact same spell the exact same way, and you'll get completely different results. Some people manifest stuff faster than others, vice versa. With manifestation, actually, I've realized, people who have depression actually tend to manifest things faster just due to the fact that if they put, like, say if you're in a low and you barely have the energy mentally or physically to roll out of bed, but you need something to happen, so you basically muster up all the energy you do have towards that thing. So we tend to, and I say we because I do have depression, we tend to manifest things more faster, not more faster, but faster than, I'm not going to compare somebody, but with that being stated, lavenderite, if anybody is attracted to this stone, watch carrying it with you, because lavenderite is a manifestation stone. What I like to do is when I wear lavenderite, I also wear, which is under my my hoodie, but I have a piece of smoky quartz that I always show. I wear that because I program that quartz, that smoky one, to filter out my anxious thoughts, the what if thoughts, the depressive thoughts, all those thoughts that you have that you do not want to manifest. So when I do wear it, it kind of synchronizes to where, like, they work together to not manifest the stuff that I really don't want manifesting. Will you stop dusting me with your tail? Thank you. Okay, so back to this. Friday is the day of Venus for relationships and issues, or relationship issues, aka the day of love. Saturday is the day of Saturn for clearing obstacles, and Sunday is the day of the Sun for health and success. There is, let's see, Sense, which I'm not really, like, I don't really work with Sense that much, unless it's in an instant version, and then I still only, like, have strict incense that I like to use. There are certain smells that if I can get the right smell of that in an incense, or if I can get my hands on the actual real thing, it automatically like puts me in that mind state. And honestly, that's one of the reasons, besides you can use the scent, which I'm about to list off some, and this also touches on how with every plant or scent from a plant, it's also corresponded with a planet. That also can be broke down to masculine and feminine too, and literally you can add all of this up. There are some witches that prefer you add all of this stuff up, use all astrology, use everything you can, make sure it all falls in the right timing for the spell to work. It doesn't work that way unless you were raised that way. It's all in the mind state. If you believe it works that way, then and you try to go away that, it's kind of like a mental mind fuck. But let's see, there's Cypress, which apparently is ruled by Saturn. It's for protection. Dark blue or black candle. That's just the color candles right now that I'm about to read off is just from this. There is frankincense, which is ruled by the sun for purification. It says use an orange candle. There's jasmine, that's ruled by the moon for healing, contemplation, pale blue, and patchouli, it's ruled by Venus and attracts love, and a green candle. See, to me, I would already use pink or red, not green. I don't. Anyways, but that's how it works. And I am about to read off the colors, but I'm also going to state something with the colors. It also, these colors and how I'm about to say this, it also represents dream interpretation and the books that you can buy on it, or the other stuff that you can find online. Basically, take it with a grain of salt, and I'm about to explain why. So really quick, I'm going to go over these colors. Red, passion, energy, vitality, success. Orange, stimulation, courage, creativity, prosperity. Yellow, change, mental strength, travel. Green, fertility, harmony in relationships. Light blue, healing, spiritual harmony, peace. Dark blue, removal, obstacles, long-term issues. Purple, good luck, fortune, legal matters. Pink, friendship, love, loyalty, and romance. Black, absorption of negativity, depression, and other dark states. But see, the reason I don't necessarily agree with that is the exact same reason dreams are very tricky. They're more trickier than most people would pursue there are with translating what they mean. With the colors per se, though, the reason that I don't like actually it's a great guideline, the correspondence list, but at the same time, if, say, something in a negative aspect, something that scared you happened, and you associate that memory with the color red, or the color, let's say, green. There we go. Green, they have fertility, harmony, and relationships. Okay, but say the person, I don't know, say you got hit, or say the car got hit. Something like that. And you associated that memory with the color green. So in a spell, you're not going to necessarily want to use green because you don't associate it with fertility, harmony, and relationships, and or money or something like that. Say you've always associated blue with money. Then do that. With the dream state, on the other hand, it's kind of the same way. Not everybody associates a color or an item or something like that with something else. It's too personal. That's what makes us unique. So when it comes to dream interpretation, true enough, there are certain things, per se, a dream that I've had before, last year actually. It scared the hell out of me when I had it too, but I looked it up and it made perfect sense. If you've ever had a dream where all of your teeth fall out, that's an indication that you are extremely stressed out. And with that, basically what they did, and actually the core beliefs behind some of the correspondences that they have with some of the stuff that you dream, that was originally all done in a study. So basically throughout history, these people have asked other people, about dreams, and not only their dreams, but what they were going on in their life. And through that, through percentaging and everything like that, there was a percentage that if people had, you know, a teeth falling out, they were in very, very stressful points in their life. So that's basically how it's done. But at the same time, I should have done an entire video on dreams. Because, like, say, for example, dreams, you can train, for one, you can train yourself. There are different things that you can do to train yourself to realize you're dreaming, which is called lucid dreaming. And basically, lucid dreaming is where your subconscious or your conscious basically kicks on, and your brain realizes it's asleep. Once you do that, you have more control over what happens in your dreams. And the more you do this, the more control you have. What those tips are in the waking world are there are some things in dreams that, well, they're exact opposite in reality. Example, clocks do not work in dreams. Time does not work in dreams. That's also one of the reasons that you can fall asleep for like 2 hours and you have a dream that makes you feel like you've been asleep for years. When you're in dream world or dream world, realm, whatever, however you want to word that, there is no, like, concept of time. Because, again, like I've stated in some of my more conspiracy videos, time is all an illusion and a concept to track history. That literally before humans, time didn't exist. The concept of time didn't exist. Or at least it didn't exist on what we know time to be. But with the dreams and stuff, if, let's see, light switches do not work, clocks don't work, you're not supposed to be able to actually, like, read, or lettering is supposed to be backwards, and with there's another thing with mirrors, and then tattoos will not always be, like, the tattoos that, say, for example, the tattoo I have on my wrist, when I'm asleep, that won't always be there, but that's also the tips that you can do throughout your everyday life. Every single time you walk in a room or walk out of a room, hit the light switch on and off and look at the light fixture. Now, if you do that repetitively and make it like a daily ritual that becomes into a weekly, monthly, daily, in time when you fall asleep, even though you are asleep, when you walk into a room, you'll switch the light on. And what happens? It won't work. So therefore you realize, oh wait, I'm asleep. It's ways to, there's that, you can draw something on you, or if you do have a tattoo, or if you have a ring, draw a mark on your hand, and repetitively look down at it and say, I'm awake, I'm awake. When you see it, if you use something on you, as this trigger, you look at it throughout the day, repetitively, and say, you just look at it, feel it, and be like, I'm awake. I'm awake. I'm awake. That way, in a dream, if you look on your hand, it will trigger your brain to be like, wait, that's not there. I'm asleep. And then it will give you absolute control of your dreams. Now, this will take practice for some, and for some, like I've stated in my videos, it'll just kind of come natural. A lot of people have actually done this. They may not remember it, but they've done it. It's not necessarily a very common thing for people to do, but it's like sleep paralysis. People have done it. I'm not really going to get into sleep paralysis because one of the last times I really talked about sleep paralysis, not on a live, but in my actual life, I experienced it, and then my partner experienced it, and yeah, that's for an entire new video. There is a post, though, like way back on this page, there is a post that I did on it. Most creepy experience I think I've ever had. But, back to this and candle spells. So, with the colors, and the dates, and even the scents, that kind of all goes on you, because it's in the eye of the beholder. You know, like I stated, one color, or you may, somehow there's something that you associate a certain day that it states on this, or a correspondence that would stay, and you have a bad memory with that date. So, you would use another date. It's very weird, because the more that I'm breaking this stuff down, I'm like, wait, what is the point of all this? I understand there's knowledge, and, like, the more knowledge you have, but at the same time, we also already have this. What I'm realizing, actually, the more that I'm doing this, and again, this, like I stated yesterday, this is more of a shamans believe this, that all of this, all of this information in these books throughout history, it's all linked in us. Very buried, very, very deep down in us, or in a part of us, through our ancestors and passed down through birth and blood. We have all of this knowledge. And all you have to do is kind of like show the universe you're willing to wake up and accept that, and I'm telling you, this stuff will come natural. Literally, it will. You will have to get past that point of, for one, thinking you're crazy, and then second guessing, saying, well, this is not in the book, so should I? Books can only get you so far in the craft. I know a lot of people will be like, are you freaking kidding me right now? But it's true. Once you learn the correspondences and how energy works and the different types, and then how tools and the reason, the symbols behind the tools that we use in the craft, once you realize all that, you kind of can just go your own way. That literally, unless you are specifically drawn to a certain religious path, what I mean religious, Wicca or something like that, a religious witchcraft path, then of course, by all means, go by that. But for me, example, I'm just a witch. I do fall under the guidelines of eclectic witch, but I just like the term witch. I'm a spiritual witch. I practice magic, but at the same time, I'm very spiritual. I believe in a lot of things. But with the candle spells, back to the candle spells, I know this is how my brain works though. I'm getting better at it though, but with the candle spells, it's very simple. Literally, you can grab a candle, hold it in your hand, and think about what you want. Not only what you want, but also opportunities and ways that those can get to you. Think of pathways of how the thing you're trying to manifest can get to you. The more clear you make this, the more specific. The more specific you can think it, the more specific that it sounds, and that you can think about. But a lot of people always focusing on it coming to them, and they never think about helping the universe out, because when it comes to magic and manifestation, I don't care what anyone says, it's 50-50. You can't just keep doing spells and spells and spells to get all this stuff and not kind of do your work, is what I'm trying to say. You have to meet the universe 50-50. Now, there are some things that will just manifest. I realized 3 years ago, I have stuff right now in this moment that I wanted that I didn't have then. So always remember that. And if you don't want to keep a book of shadows, because I personally don't, I have multiple books, which I'll be going over some things in one of my original books of shadows. But I no longer keep one. I keep more of a digital book of shadows. I take pictures of everything that I do, and I tag it with the date, and that's my thing. That also, in that, I also don't like repetitive magic. Even if I use the same, say, incantation for one, I will switch it up and change it at some point in time. That's just my personal opinion. But I don't know, the idea of just using spells over and over and over and over again, it's kind of like pouring water in a cup and expecting it to stay fresh constantly. It's not. It needs what? Flow. It needs stream. It needs to grow. It needs more knowledge. So that's one of the reasons well, now again, when I state in any of my videos, if you hear me say Wiccan or anything like that, I'm not throwing shade, but I'm also giving you my personal not unbiased, but my personal opinion on that. And if you follow me on Instagram, or if you're new to these, I am very, very transparent with how I am. I do keep some things personal in my personal life out of this, but at the same time, I try to stay as transparent as possible with everybody who checks these out. That way, if at any point in time we ever meet in public, besides me being extremely awkward and shy, it won't be a facade. I am the person that, outside of these lives, I am the same person. You may have to get to know me a little bit, and I have to get comfortable with the people, but this is me 24/7. It's taken me a lot to get to this point, but I'm here, and I damn sure ain't going anywhere. Somebody has ripped the lid off, and there's no quieting me. I'm gonna keep doing these. So, But with the candle spell, you literally will just hold it in your hand. And if you only just have a candle, nothing else, you have no crystals, no herbs, no nothing else, just use the candle. If you do, you can carve what you want to wish. If the candle's big enough, you can totally carve it in there, write it on there. There are multiple things, but candle spells, I love them because my element is fire, and fire transformation. Also, if you do use the element of fire to, what I primarily do in a lot of my spells, actually, depending on what they are, I'll actually just jot stuff down on a piece of paper and make it very clear, and I think it may be called, like, making a petition. I'm not for sure on that, the actual term of it, but I've always just written stuff down, folded it at certain times, and set the sucker on fire. And when I do that, I'll say, I invoke the element of fire to breathe life into this, and to also, well, not really spark life into this, and then I'll call upon the element of air to breathe life into it, but at the same time, once those ashes cool, I'll gather them up and throw them into the wind while invoking the element of the wind. With that, there's also a technique that's called whistling up the wind. I've adapted it from the original thing, and it goes with sailors that they could knot up the wind, or they could control the wind for their ships and stuff. And one of the whistling up the winds is, traditionally, you're supposed to go next to a cliff or a very high up place and basically whistle while tying a knot. Or, now I've done it to where I can just whistle and think of wind blowing, and it's not going to be like, I'm not going to call a hurricane or anything, but you will get one or two little, like, gusts. And it's enough to send the ashes into the universe. You can do that with water. Call upon the element of water if you have a running stream. Let's see. There's also, you can always use your trash can. Wow. You can also always use your toilet. As weird as that sounds, like, you can legit, like, if you wanted to quit smoking cigarettes, hold the pack of cigarettes or hold a cigarette in your hand and be like, no more, I'm banishing you from my life. I call upon, or I invoke the element of water to help banish this and carry this away from me, and then flush it down the toilet. It's not really eco-friendly, but, you can do that. So see, there's very simple stuff that, like, a lot of people do throughout their regular day lives. Like, how many people have heard the saying, if you have an issue with somebody or something like that, write it all down on a piece of paper, rip it up, or burn it. That's magic. You are literally transferring that negative, those emotions out of your head onto paper, and then what are you doing? By fire, or just by ripping it up, sheer emotion, you are ripping that up and banishing it from your life. That's magic, people. That is everyday magic. Stirring your cup in the morning time. You can stir it clockwise and say, help this coffee bring sweetness into my life, or bring sweetness into my day, sweetness and serenity. You could do counterclockwise and be like, let this coffee take away, I don't know, let it banish the grogginess that I'm having, and and then do a clockwise motion and be like, let this bring awakeness and clarity into my life. And legit, that's magic, because you're using emotion, and basically you're charging that with your intent of doing that. You could also, there are some people that say, blow on your coffee and say, cauldron cool. I think that's from an actual show or a movie or a book, one or the other. But I've used it before, and it kind of works. Like, it doesn't dramatically cool it off, but I'll notice a difference. See, when it comes to magic, or spirituality, really, or manifestation, or whatever you want to call it, number one thing you have to learn how to do is throw out every single thing you've ever been taught by society. Almost revert back to that ooh-ah bliss as a kid, to where, like, no matter what it was, like, it was real. It was like, if somebody came up to you, or if you went to Disney World or something like that, and saw your favorite cartoon character or your favorite character in real life, it was the most magical experience, and you ever, like, those moments like that, those moments that were just pure magic as a child, no matter what anybody said, no matter if somebody came directly to you and were like, this is not real, grow up, and you're like, screw you, this is real, right? Basically, to really do magic without questioning yourself, you have to dump all of that out. All of the times people told you to grow up, all the times people told you to get out of your head or stop daydreaming, this isn't real, that's not how the world works, this isn't how science works, this isn't how religion works, this isn't how things work. Throw it all out and be like, you know what if? Because think about it, at the end of the day, all the legends that we have, all the superstitions, all the monsters that we see in movies that actually has folklore behind it, it's lore now, but at some point in time, there had to be something going on for people at certain points in history that were literally could not communicate with other parts. They were completely cut off from all other parts of the world, but yet even in ancient cultures, we still see throughout different spots in the world, we still see very, very similarities behind these monsters or these events or these vampires or wolves and all of the other numbers of things, demons, ghosts, ghouls, goblins, I said goblins twice, fairies, fairy folk, fae, all of that, dragons even. Come on. Unless somebody legit dropped acid, but anyway, how our brains work, unless they literally just pulled that from nothing, there had to be something that they saw or witnessed to where their imagination either took it and blew it up to like kind of just they interpreted the fear of what they saw and that kind of like blew it up, or they legit saw what they wrote. And I don't know, I've said multiple times, I believe that, due to how there was a giant shift with how humanity started developing, once the more religious aspect started growing, and these certain organizations or these certain people or groups started getting control of the majority and they started changing a lot of things. Like I've stated, I recently found out that the original, like some of the original instruments that were ever created, it was all tuned to this certain frequency, this certain tune. And in a certain point in time in history, they changed that. The people that were in charge changed that because that frequency is linked to opening our minds. That frequency is almost, I believe it's linked to the golden ratio. It's linked to like everything else that we find linked to like the sacred geometry and all of that. It was all linked to it, and it was supposed to put you into a trance state to where it enlightened you. It altered your state of mind to where you were tapped in. And I even, swung out the idea, which a lot of people have already said this, what if that is where all these civilizations that have just literally just vanished with no trace, science is still to this day have no idea where they're at, what if they actually did, like, find true enlightenment? Like, what if they found the next door to, the life after this, on the next plane, on the dimensional plane, outside this 3D, 2D world that we're living in? I believe that they may have found that doorway and just walked right on through. And it's insane because if you start looking at it, it does fall into the conspiracy category, but if you start looking at how much ancient knowledge that not only for one, it was believed worldwide in areas and times that there's no way in hell they could have talked to each other worldwide, but there are so many similarities. All of this ancient knowledge was hidden and it's been oppressed or just completely destroyed. And that's what this movement is in the past generation, say 10, 20 years. That's 30 years, 40 years, I don't know. That's this new movement. We're realizing, oh wait, no. The world and the system is not what they actually tell us. There's a hell of a lot more out there, and we're finally waking up. Now, I do want to point out, the entire time I've been saying all of this, I've been getting chills from head to toe. Which is my validation for my guys that I'm on point with what I'm supposed to be saying. And it's insane. Like, it's made me question a lot of the conspiracies. Like, think about it. How do you, even governmental conspiracies, spiritual conspiracies, any type of conspiracy, think about it. How do you discredit somebody in our day and age in society, and even back then? What do? You call them crazy. You say they're a lunatic. You say they're off the rocker. And, well, the majority of the people, mob mentality thing, they're going to believe the higher ups. So that person's automatically discredited. Things fall into fantasy. Things fall into folklore and whatnot. And here you are about to be 2020. And it's so freaking insane, though, because some of the greatest minds throughout history, some of the greatest artists, some of the greatest inventors, some of the greatest people in general, at some point in time throughout history, they were deemed crazy. They were deemed unstable. They were deemed off their rocker. They were deemed in another world. That they wasn't all here. But yet, it was just due to the simple fact their thinking at that point in time and their creations were so, mind-blowing that they had to be crazy. This was madness. This goes against everything our backbone is built off of, and if we change this, it's all going to come crashing down, when in reality, that's the point of humans. We are to learn as much as possible, and the way and the road that has been paved for us, we're slowly breaking out of. It's oppressing us. This technology that I'm using right now, as much as I hate it, it's all this technology that we're making, we're thinking, and we're stating, and people that's making it are stating that it's supposed to be making us better, and all that, when in reality it's not. It's making us stupider. Think about it. We're not learning how to use maps anymore. We're not learning on our natural instinct anymore. It all ties in. I know I sound crazy, but legit, it all ties in. You may not see it that way, and that's fine. That's not the point of these videos. The point of my videos are to just kind of tell and teach people. But I did get completely off topic there. I'm sorry about that. So, basically, there are multiple things you can do when it comes to a candle spell. You don't have to have a certain dressed anointed candle. You don't have to have a candle dipped in oil that, I don't know, that has crystals all over it and is aesthetically pleasing. True magic is not aesthetically pleasing. It can be. It can be very aesthetically pleasing. But a lot of the times, it kind of just looks messy. But in that in itself is a beautiful thing. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, if you want to, and if you have the means and the necessities, then all means, go out and drop $1,000 or something, on candles and all this other charge spell stuff. But you could do that if you don't have extra time to do anything else, then do that. But a lot of these oils and stuff that people buy online and everything like that. Now, before I state this, I will, at some point in time, I don't know about the oils and stuff that I don't know. A lot of the plans that I had at the beginning of this year have slightly changed. It had altercations, so I'm still getting around that. But at one point in time next year, there will be certain things that I will be offering that are not like services, as in the services that I provide, land blessings and cleansings and banishings, home cleansings. Still working on that. But the tarot readings, the oracle readings, all readings, intuitive, spell works that I can do. But there will be other stuff that I will be offering later on in the year. And yeah, I have lots of ideas, and hopefully I will finally be able to manifest everything that I've been needing and lacking and really get the ball rolling. But I'm being guided by spirit on this and how everything turns out and how everything works. Because I didn't think I'd be doing this time this year. But I love doing them, and I'm going to continue doing them. I did want to talk about something else too. Off topic of candle magic, but I think I've kind of, no, actually, with the candle magic, I kind of want to ask a question, but at the same time give a little, not really advice, but A lot of the people do to candle magic. They're after the candle burns down, you're kind of like, wait, what now? Like, what do you do with that wax? Um, to me, it depends on the spell. If you do a binding or banishing or anything like that, anything that could be considered negative, then you don't want to keep that at your house. You don't want to keep that on your property. So don't bury it on your property. One of the best ways that I've recently found, and to anyone who's curious of how I've been kind of finding and learning new stuff, because like I stated before, I do like to read, but at the same time, it's very hard for me to read. So I either use YouTube videos. Here lately, though, I've actually been using podcast. I shared it on the one that I was listening to yesterday, and I've been listening to them today, and it's, I think it's Three Pagans and a Cat. Yeah, Three Pagans and a Cat. Their podcasts are amazing. If you have Spotify, I think they're on other platforms too, but I use it on Spotify. I actually got this, what I'm about to say, from that, from one of their podcasts, and it's something I never thought of. When it comes to negative spells, negative spell work, or we'll say shadier spell work, there we go, shadier spell work, any leftover remains. I'd never even thought about this either, but they suggested, or one of the reviewers that were watching them when they were recording, suggested that they actually take it to a cemetery and bury it due to the simple fact the spirits that are there and the energy that is there will automatically bind it there. So I was just like, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Another idea to that, by the way, which I don't have a box. I will be making this actual type of box, but I have I have other means of doing it. If I do anything negative or anything that I per se just don't want lying around, or I don't want buried on my property, or it can't be burned, it can't be thrown in a lake due to it may, be poisonous to the water or something like that, you can wrap it in anything black. And then if you really want to, put like salt or some type of purifying herb. And it's not really saying you're not necessarily purifying that as much as you're keeping it in that. Now, if you could get a box, a thing that is a really good idea. Now, I actually do this with a lot of my candle spells. Depending on if it's for a customer or a client, then I won't do this. I have another means of discarding that. But my personal ones, depending on what they are, I actually collect all of the remains to them, and then I will melt them down and re-pour them into one master candle. With this, I'm hoping to actually get more organized once I find the right thing that I can, say I'll have like a little container that has all wish spells in it, or at least wish candle spells, and all the wax from those wishes will be right there, and then say for healing, and then for love, and then for money, and then so on. So at one point in time, I could make this giant master one and do like a community thing. I've actually been, not the community thing, the community burn, but I actually have been doing that. But for spells, if anybody is into the shadier stuff or does that for a living, collect all of the wax remains to all of those negative spells, and enforce it and morph it together to create one badass candle. Now that's just what I do, but you can bury it in the graveyard. There are multiple things you can do. If you do bury it on your property, what I bury, or how I do it, or how I have done it in the past, if it is like, say, a darker object or something is attached to that object or something like that. Some people will disagree with this too because you are using salt, but I'd dig a hole, I put salt in the bottom, lay the object or the remains of the spell there, put another layer of salt on it, a couple other stuff that I mix up, and then bury it, forget about it, done, you're done. Boom. I mean, there are different ways, but a lot of people, they don't really talk about that much. And then in some books, they're like, just bury it. Well, if a person they can only get their hands on one magic book, and the only thing it states in that magic book is just bury it. You're not going to want to bury some dark stuff or some shady stuff on your property, because that will do energy, and no. Also, sometime in January, once I get the ingredients that I need, and I'm only lacking like 4 or 5 other ones, I will be actually doing a live witch's jar. It's not actually going to be a real one that I will use, due to the fact that I'm making it and constructing it live on here, but I will be posting it in advance. I'm hoping to do it in January, New Year and everything, but I'll be posting all the stuff that you can use for one of these. So, and this may actually be a Saturday thing, that way more people can do it, but you will actually be able to construct it as we're doing it. As I'm putting mine together, you will be able to put yours together. So I'm hoping, and I'm going to see how that works. But that's going to take a lot of planning, because I'm going to try to find some of the most, like, simplest of things that you can find in, like, say, a Dollar General, Walmart, Dollar Tree, stores that I know for a fact are the majority of all places. Or at least they're sold in other stores that you would be able to get your hands on. And it will be budgeted, because who doesn't like being a budget witch? I love being budget witches. I'm sorry, budget magic, it makes you creative, and that's what magic is. That's what the craft is. It's like making your own thing, making it more you. As you grow, and, you know, over time, as you grow and you develop your personality, magic itself, your magic will grow and do the same thing. It'll have its own, you know, your own personal flair to it. But wow, it's a lot colder than I thought it was. Yes, the graveyard, that was something that was so simple, but I'd never thought about it before. Now, with that, I would go, if you do any type of magic, or if you leave any type of magic in a graveyard, I do want to be very clear with this. Make sure you are known kind of in that grave, your presence is known there in that graveyard, due to the simple fact, I myself, in some of the older graveyards that I've been to, there has been some type of guard, like an energy that's just like guarding. I don't know if that's like just a thing that develops over time. I don't know what the process of that is, but some graveyards, depending on how old they are, they can have like guards, or energy that is very protective. So you're not just going to want to just bust up in a graveyard, and due to the fact you do practice magic and your vibration is higher, all the spirits and energy that are there, they're going to realize that. You're literally going to look like this Christmas light. Alright, let's see. This little light. You're going to look like that walking in that graveyard. So kind of bring an offering of some sorts, even if it's an incense, anything you can, and just, you know, be like, hey, I mean no harm to anybody, I mean no harm to this sacred ground, I'm just trying to discard this. Like, actually state that, you know, you are a witch, and you're just trying to safely discard spell remains. And that's just so that, you know, nothing could possibly attach itself to you, and you don't want to bring that home with you. Trust me, you don't. If you do sage your house, always remember at one point in time, open one of your windows or doors. If not, then you're just kind of burning sage in your house, and the negativity has nowhere of going. So, remember that. That's only just like actual full-on cleansing. Like, if you're just burning sage to burn sage in your room or to cleanse your space, you don't necessarily have to open your window. But if you can, preferably open a window or a door. And how I do it, and what you're supposed to do, well, no, I'm not going to say what you're supposed to do. How I was taught, or the original, and how I do it, is basically you go around in the house, but there's a start and a finish point. And the reason that is, and primarily it's traditionally a door or a window, I believe, but that's so you can literally, you're going through each room and each part of the house, and you're not just, you know, banishing it, but you're also, like, unsticking it from the walls and all that, and you're pushing it, you're telling it and forcing it to literally get out of your house. Like, I don't think when you burn or spray sage, I I don't think it's like in the movies where the ghost or energy just goes poof. I don't think that. I think that like it's like what you would do to smoke something out of a hole. You're literally, the smoke irritates the hell out of it, so it's gonna find every way it can to get the fuck out. That's basically what blessing and saging does. And I have very different techniques of how I bless a house or land, depending on what that is. Now, I do have something really cool. I do have to find it, though. I saved it somewhere on my phone. But I found a website that you can actually type the town or your address in, and it shows you what Native Americans were actually on your land, or what, I don't know the proper words to say this, so please don't come for me if I, like, missay it, but the, like, I almost said nations, the, like, different tribes and different kinds, no disrespect in anything that I'm saying right now, but it shows you where they were on your property. I should have written down the ones that were here, which I'm in Florida, so, and I'm in, like, well, I'm not going to say exactly where I am, but, now that I know the Indians that were here, and especially due to the fact that I'm close to water, I'm assuming that there was a heavy presence here, and like I've stated before, close to where I live, there are a few actual, like, what would be considered, or what I would consider, and what looks like a mound. It's a hill, that doesn't, for one, it shouldn't be here, because that's not really the environment that I'm in, but at the same time, it doesn't look man-made, so there is a very good chance it is Native American, burial ground, but that's also not something I'm just gonna, like, walk up to and invite into my house. So remember that if you do go to anywhere where Native Americans were, and you're new to this, you're a sprout, and you're like, oh wait, I'm here at an Indian burial ground, let me collect some dirt. Don't collect sticks. Nothing. No. And the only reason I'm saying that is a precaution, because Native American, when it comes to them and when it comes to their magic, it is something out of this world. We do not understand it. I don't care who you are, unless you are an actual, like, full-blooded Native American that is still fully, like, you know, face deep in their spiritual and culture and all of that. I don't believe that we know and understand how Native American magic works, or even how the Native American spiritual world works. So, like, if you do go to anything like that, or if you want to give an offering to a Native American, or if you know of Native Americans on your property and you want to just kind of give them an offering or something like that, please do your research on what type was there, because this is something I did not know. Dragon's blood. Dragon's blood can be harsh to spirits. So, especially Native Americans. Native Americans in general, they like sweetgrass. Sage. Sweetgrass, though, I was told that if you do burn dragon's blood, and there are Native Americans present, spirits that are present, or they're on the land, burn some sweetgrass or sweet nettle, some sweet-smelling herbs after that to kind of calm them down. So yeah, and let me tell you, when it comes to Native Americans, like, if you've never felt their energy, the property that I used to live on to, I was very stupid, and I do not suggest doing this in any way, shape, or form. This is growth for me for admitting that I was extremely stupid and not really fully understanding what the hell I was doing. I found out what type of Native Americans were on the land that I used to live on when I first got down here, which is extremely haunted. Still to this day, by the way, an update on my old property that I used to live on, the people that bought it, there have been at least 3 campers that have tried staying on that property, and the only reason I know this is because a person who knows about the property and everything like that, they pass by the property literally actually twice a day. Twice a day, every day, for, I think, except Sundays. So, they would know, right? Nothing has been done. We knew what the plans were, the owners of this property, the newer owners, we knew what their original plans were. which were to basically completely change everything on the land. Yeah, there have been at least 3 attempts to like camp out on that property, and they're gone the following day. So there's an update on that. It's also been like 3 years now, I believe, since it's been sold, and nothing. Like, nothing. So, but I was very stupid, and these photos are somewhere on, I will find them. I will have to dig them out of the archive that I have of photos, and, but it was on the 4th of July, and a lot of spiritual shit happened that night, but I was like, oh wait, I know the Native Americans that used to be here, so I'm gonna play a war chant, or, you know, their war song, and see what happens. Please do not do that. If you take anything from my videos, if you see this video and you've made it to this point, if you go anywhere near Native Americans, please, dear God, for the life of you, do not try invoking them. Do not try doing anything just to get a response, because I'm telling you, you're going to get a response. I got a response. I started playing that, and I'm getting chills. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm about to get chills probably from head to toe. I was playing that song. Or I was playing a chant, an Indian chant, war chant, their chant, on YouTube. And dude, the entire fucking atmosphere and land and everything else around changed. Like, I've only experienced true dead silence a few times in my life. And to anyone who doesn't know what that is literally where everything, especially if you're outside, everything just goes dead quiet. You don't hear crickets, you don't hear leaves, you don't hear rustling, you don't hear owls, you don't hear birds, you don't hear anything that would be moving at night. Literally everything stops. And normally, if you're doing anything magical or anything paranormal-wise, that's normally when something's about to happen. Because what that is an indication of, that is an indication that the energy has changed to a point that the animals, cats, birds, nightly insects, they've stopped. Normally they only stop, insects or crickets for example, they only stop when, well, a threat is near. Danger is near. And I'm not saying these Native Americans were dangerous, they could have been, but, or this Native American spirits, but I will say that it literally felt like they had all, like, came straight up, like, in one swoop motion, all of their energy, and it literally felt like I was surrounded by people. And, like, the environment and the air got so intense, it was like, it was electric. Like, all your hairs were standing up, and it was like you could feel almost this, like, tingle or sizzle in the air. And I burned Sweetgrass right after that. Like, I apologized. I explained what I did. I was like, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to, like, disrupt you. I wasn't trying to disrespect you in any way, shape, or form. I was just trying to see if there was, you know, if there were spirits on the land, because I don't want to do anything that would be disrespectful or anything like that to you, and I'm so sorry. And I specifically said, hey, I'm burning this, you know, and then I also, I had some tobacco from a bag, so it wasn't like out through a cigarette, but I burned that as well, and I said, these are for you, please take this as, you know, I'm sorry, and no retaliation, please, basically. It worked. I mean, there's still shit on that property, and I still, to this day, I don't know all the stuff we experienced. I don't know if it was Native Americans, if it was something else, if it was just spirits, or something that was attached to somebody, or, I don't know. But I do know that, like, I'll never live on another property like that again. Like, I mean, there's stuff that happens here, but nowhere near or escalated to what happened there. And then also the kind of eureka epiphany that I had recently, it explains some of the weird, because all the spiritual or paranormal activity that's happened in my life, none of it's made sense. Some of it has, and then others, particularly since I've gotten to Florida, it never made sense. It never fit into one category. So, but without getting onto that, I do want to go over the tarot card, oracle card, and then I'm probably going to break another habit of mine and off camera take 1 or 2 hits from a cigarette. because I'm a bad influence. No, I have a bad habit that I have to break. But let me do that, and we will go over this card. I'm excited. Very excited, actually. Magic, please do not claw me. But, yeah, and here in the next week, I believe, sometime next week, my, I should have my hotspot back. So, the, live that I did yesterday, though, it is still up here, and then it's also on my YouTube page. And then I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do for Yule. If I'm going to do anything special, or if I'm just going to be like the week of Yule, or for the people that do celebrate it, the week of Christmas. If I am going to do my morning lives, or if I'm going to do just like a hiatus, a holiday hiatus until, you know, because I know how the holidays can be for people. They're going to be busy and hectic and confusing and crazy as hell, like they always are. I mean, I've had some pretty relaxed, in recent years, I've had some relaxed holidays. But, without talking more, I will be going over the card once I can find the phone. Oh, there we go. About to say, Magic, did you hide the phone from me? What's funny was I tried putting her outside before the live just to see if she wanted to, and she looked at me, and she looked outside, and she looked back at me, and she's like, what? What am I supposed to do? I was like, do you want to stay outside, or do you want to come back inside? She walked back inside. But, Liquor and her still have not gotten used to each other or something. And, no offense, I love you, but I don't think I want to bring you inside. Yeah, for that reason, right there, y'all always bring fleas into the house. And then there's a flea outbreak, and then you have to go back outside because all the fleas, well, apparently dies or either gets off you and you get better. Because I used to have some cats that liked taking baths. These cats and all the other cats that I have, well, if I ever come on here with scratches all over my face and up and down my arms, you know this little sinister cat did it. But without further ado, and I think this is kind of perfect in a way, which is, oh, I don't know what it moved. The underworld. No, it does not mean you're going to die or go to the underworld. The underworld, where all things pause and begin again. And perfect for what time of the year it is. Another realm, shadow-filled, traveled from death's bed, where we stop and transform within the realm of the dead. The idea of the underworld, a whole realm that we go to after we die, and the concept is a concept that crosses a huge variety of culture and eras. The Sumerians, the Turkish, the Incas, the Greeks, through the Siberians, the Morals, the Mori, and the Chimers, all had distinct word for the underworld. What is the difference, though, is how those cultures treat the concept. Whether the underworld is seen as a place of rest and rejuvenation, or horror and punishment. The Christian hell is a place of darkness, fire, and punishment. The Egyptian underworld is one of judgment, peace, and renewal. In Mori, I'm saying that wrong, culture, it is a in-between place of waiting, wisdom, and translation. Many myths that mention the underworld often involve the concept of place of waiting and trials of the eventual judgment. It can also be a place of joy and peace. Should the underworld card be present in your reading, you are being asked to consider exactly what you have to do to transform your life into something you find easier or more authentic to you. This may involve changing courses. It may involve trials and tests to keep moving. While these things may fall away and your life may appear bare for a time, this is temporary. Space is being made into which you can create the new. Now, it's so weird that she did not where they did not actually talk about the Summerlands. Um, from my belief and my idea behind the Summerlands is basically it's the other side. I don't know if you want to say the underworld, but the other side to where witches believe we go, and basically I believe we just kind of chill out there until we're either reborn or we, we pick our next chapter, whether that be becoming a spirit guide or something else completely. That's what I believe, though. And it's also, like I stated before in yesterday's video, will you hush? Like I stated in yesterday's video, when things start to fall away in our lives, when we fall into that season, I guess, that time of the season, time of the year where things start to go a little crazy and stuff just starts fading away and it's like you're losing everything, always know that that's normally because the universe is trying to clear all the shit that's either being done to you that you're doing, or basically you're feeding all areas of your life that you are feeding or you are putting time, effort, and energy into, to where the universe automatically sees, or the higher ups, they already see that that's these things, these places, these, whatever you want to call them, aspects of your life, they're not serving you any good. So, what do? Well, they fucking clean that slate clean. And through that, the cocooning process, be a butterfly, or the chrysalis process, you heal, you transform, and you find who you truly are. So, for anyone, if you are in that stage, or if you're in a stage of your life where you have major decisions, try to, think about it. Think about, is it time for a new change? Is it? What are aspects in your life that feel stale, or feel like you kind of just haven't really done anything? It's not really flowing, it's not really moving backwards, but it's not going forward. Stagnated. So, yeah. But, without further ado, I believe I'm going to cut this one short. Well, I don't know if it's short, but I'm going to cut this one. I hope y'all all have a magical Friday. The full moon is very close, because today is the 6th, so the full moon is next week. It's on the 12th, or next weekend one. It is on the 12th, and for the people that do recognize it and consider it, which I do, there are 3 nights of a full moon, just like there are technically 3 nights of a new moon. And the reason I say that is, say the full moon is the 12th, so on the 12th it will be 100% illuminated, aka 100% full. But the night prior to that, the 11th and the 13th, which I actually believe is Friday, it is Friday the 13th, so yeah, it is this coming week, Friday the 13th, that is also technically, it's a full moon, but it's a waning full moon, because, it's waning to start the new cycle, but it's still 99% full. So, there are 3 nights of a full moon. You can use all 3 nights to do, say, a 3-night candle spell. What I mean by that is burning it each night a certain time. Don't, just leave the candle lit and then go to sleep. Don't do that, please. You're going to burn your house down, burn your neighbor's house down. Don't. But yeah. So, but without further ado, I will be signing off. And as everybody should know, I will still be active on this page, but you won't see me until Monday. Or will you? I don't know. I don't think I have anything planned for this Saturday, but you never know me. Always, but if you haven't already, you should totally follow this page, though, to make sure you get notifications when I go live or when I post stuff. I post a lot of random good articles. They're not all about, again, my page is not all about magic, primarily because magic is my everyday life, but it's about spirituality, it's about opening your mind, learning new things. So yeah, if you see this, like it, share it if you want. That would be awesome, honestly. But if not, then yeah. Oh, I did forget something. The 30-day tarot challenge that I'm also currently doing on my Pinterest. There will be more updates coming soon. Sorry I haven't really been talking about them. But I will start that Monday. I will start talking about, and I'll go over some of the ones that I've been doing. So yeah, if you are curious about that, I will post a link to my Pinterest in the comments below. If you see this on YouTube, then the link should also be down below. But until then, everybody, I hope y'all all have a magical, magical Friday. And yeah, good morning, afternoon, morning, noon, night. I don't know your life. But without further ado,